This way, Tarnished. May I have a word? A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. Or you may know me as Ranni. All this and more. The Age of Stars explained. When you first start your journey in the lands between and receive torrent from Melina, if you go to the Church of LA at night time, you will find the start of something special. A bluish purple fog envelops the ruin. The merchant sits with his head bowed. He is unusually quiet and does not acknowledge our presence. A figure sits atop the stone wall, under the light of the moon, the one responsible for the slumber. This character introduces themselves to us as Renna, and is very curious about our ability to summon torrent. When we confirm that we indeed can do so, she appears relieved and happy. She tells us that we can be entrusted with this item, an item that Torrent's former master possessed, the Spirit Calling Bell, a necessary item should you wish to use any spirits or summons on your journey. Should you be bold enough to attack Renna here, she will simply fade away, utterly unbothered by your attempt to try and hurt her. However, she will still leave you the Spirit Calling Bell. This makes me think this is less of a gift she's bestowing onto you, and more of a duty. She was entrusted with this item, and she wishes to uphold her promise by giving the item to us. And speaking of gifts, allow me to introduce my first sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Please congratulate Raid in celebrating 3 years this month. But seriously, this game started strong from the very beginning and it's never slowed down. An amazing addition to the game is the Doom Tower. This game mode introduces a world of new and terrifying bosses to slay. Sprawling over 120 levels, the Doom Tower brought exciting new challenges for seasoned players. As a high-level collection RPG, Raid started with hundreds of unique characters and bosses, but that didn't stop them from adding more and more new champions. The game designers must have had a field day creating these amazing characters. Just check out all those sketches. And if adding new characters wasn't enough, last year Raid added a whole new faction. The Shadowkin are a tribe of warriors from the Far East, recently liberated from the reign of evil, but that doesn't mean they're good guys either. For me, they're one of the coolest looking factions in the game. And of course, no review can end without addressing the newest and biggest addition to Raid. I'm talking about the Hydra Clan boss. It's without a doubt the biggest, baddest and scariest boss to ever set foot in Teleria. This monster has multiple heads, each with a different ability and requires a different strategy to destroy. Even if you manage to chop off one of the heads, another one grows to replace it. I invite you all to join the party and download Raid Shadow Legends in the link below. Raid's kicking things off with free gifts for everyone. They're adding in a bunch of new content and events. We're talking about new champions, new artifact sets. If that's not enough, they've got a full month of special events and tournaments with some of Raid's best ever prizes on offer. Raid's huge already, and their whole anniversary set makes it an awesome time to join the Raid community, so don't wait around. And if you're not playing Raid yet, hit the link in my description. You'll get a huge special B-Day package worth $40. We're talking 3 free champions at once. We're talking Misericord, Tiger Soul, Romero, plus 10 Magic XP brews, 10 Force XP brews, 10 Spirit brews. That's huge. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. And since it's Raid's birthday, the gifts keep on coming. All new and existing players can get a bunch of free birthday gifts worth over $25. Once you're in game, after clicking the link, just enter promo code 3YearsRaid to get your hands on everything. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends. Who was Torrent's former master? Well, that is a tale for another time. For now, heed Renna's parting words.
I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the tarnished tire of obeisance to the 2 fingers?
Remember these words, as they will be key in explaining her character and her motivations. Now, despite her saying that we won't meet again, this will be untrue if you travel to a place called the Three Sisters, west of Karia Manor. There are 3 towers here, and you will be able to immediately access one of them. Who we once knew as Renna reveals her true identity to us. Ranni the Witch. This explains why this particular tower is called Ranni's Rise. Ranni tells us that she wishes to overthrow this world's order.
That I might one day upend the whole of it, and rid the world of all that came before. Well, has that roused thy interest?
She's specifically referring to the 2 fingers, and should you wish to join her in this mission, you can agree to serve her. This is the crucial turning point where average From Software consumer becomes a Ranni appreciator. All memes aside, serving a mysterious witch in her quest to break the shackles of society is a fantastic story to be a part of. Now, if you agree to doing so, Ranni will comment, not many would have accepted this offer. Going against the 2 fingers is considered blasphemy. The two fingers are interpreters of the greater will. The greater will being the closest thing there is to a divine godlike being. You will indeed be embarking on a dark path if you choose to defy them. Now this is partly why Ranni introduces herself as Renna when you first meet. She's hiding her identity because she has a reputation. I stole death long ago refers to the rune of death. I explained more about this in my Malekith video if you're interested in checking that out. Essentially, the rune of death gives you the power to kill demigods, and Ranni stole a piece of this to end herself. What we know is that Ranni's spirit is alive and inhabiting this dull body. Now, whether Ranni knew this would happen when she used the rune of death is unclear. Sadly, she may have just decided that she simply did not want to live in this world any longer, under the control of the two fingers, and her solution to this was to end it all. Regardless, she still lives on, and this second spectral face we see is quite literally her spirit. Ranni's real physical body can be found in this game. This isn't what Ranni looks like. These frazzled ashen remains is what was left of Ranni after she used the rune of death. Only 2 arms. So why does Ranni's body have 4 arms? Well, there's a reason for this also. Back at the Three Sisters, there is another tower called Renna's Rise. You can find a chest there with an armour set inside called the Snow Witch set. Upon reading the item description, we get an amazing lore find. Once worn by the snowy crone, who the young Ranni encountered deep in the woods. She was a witch, and well versed in cold sorceries. It is said that the doll that houses Ranni's soul was modelled after her. That old witch was Ranni's secret mentor. And looking at the armour, we can see it's an exact replica of what Ranni is wearing. So we know now that Ranni had a witch teacher who had 4 arms, which just seems to open up more questions. Who is this Snow Witch and what kind of creature is she? Why does she have 4 arms? I have to know. Well, let's think about all the creatures that there are in the lands between, and which ones of these have 4 arms? Well, we know that marionette soldiers have 4 arms for the purpose of attacking. More arms equals more weapons, so that means more attack power to protect the academy. Their purpose is to protect and stop intruders from entering the institute. These soldiers appear to have multiple arms wielding more than 1 weapon, making them unpredictable in regards to how they will strike. However, we haven't seen any sorcerer type marionette soldiers in the academy, only ones able to perform physical attacks, so it seems unlikely that the Snow Witch was a marionette soldier. The second theory is that the Snow Witch could have been a wraithcaller. They have 4 arms, and the word crone would be a suitable descriptor for how they look like. Wraith callers, as their name suggests, are able to summon spirits by using calling bells. Ranni is associated with spirit summoning, and she uses spirits in Renala's boss fight in Phase 2. I explained this in my Renala video if you want to check it out. So this may explain where Ranni learned how to summon spirits. The witch taught her this school of magic. And the third theory is a little bit more complex. Kindred of Rot. These guys, who have more than 4 limbs, but they definitely seem to use their main front 4 ones. The Snow Witch's robe is very concealing, and may I say spacious. This would provide ample room to hide additional limbs. There is a large encampment of these kindreds by the Lake of Rot before the Astel boss fight, and this is significant because after defeating Astel, we get access to a chest that holds a powerful spell, Ranni's Dark Moon. The description for this reads, "The moon was encountered by a young Ranni, led by the hand of her mother Renala. What she beheld was cold, dark, and veiled in occult mystery. This is foreshadowing Ranni's fate and her subsequent questline. But how does this relate to her mentor? Well, there is actually a school of cold sorceries, and their descriptions say, the snowy crone taught the young Ranni to fear the dark moon as she imparted her cold sorcery. The Snow Witch knew that the Dark Moon would usher in something to be feared. We know that Renala essentially became insane from worshipping the moon. She has her own moon, Renala's full moon, which is described as enchanting and bewitching. So either the Snow Witch knew that this Dark Moon was a sign of bad things to come. Ranni and the Dark Moon have their fates entwined, and we know this is what happens during Ranni's ending. In the cutscene, we see a Dark Moon. But let's not jump ahead just yet. It's not confirmed what kind of creature this Snow Witch is or was, but there is still the unanswered question. Why is she blue? It could be a kind of creature that we haven't yet discovered in the lands between. Or the blue skin may be a much more literal way of portraying her character. In a state of constant cold, your skin would quite literally turn blue. Not much more is known about the Snow Witch's identity. But it can't be a coincidence that the Snow Witch's armour is found in a place called Renna's Rise, and that Ranni introduces herself as Renna when we first meet, someone whose doll form was crafted in the image of this mentor. So it's very likely that the Snow Witch's name might have been Renna, or it simply could just be that Renna is a name that Ranni came up with to disguise her true identity. Our next part of the quest is to find the hidden treasure of Nokron. This treasure is in fact a weapon, the Finger Slayer blade. From the name alone it's clear what the purpose of this item is. Finger Slayer cannot be wielded by those without a fate, but is said to be able to harm the Greater Will and its vassals. It is Ranni's fate to defeat her two fingers. When we give Ranni this blade, she thanks us and embarks on her journey. A portal gate will now be open at Renna's Rise. After being transported to Ainsel River Main, you find a tiny doll. It's a miniature Ranni. You will get the option to speak to this doll when resting at a grace. Although the doll won't talk to you immediately, you have to pester her 3 times before she relents and talks to you. It seems that Ranni is using her ability as a spirit to possess inanimate dolls and is hiding in this one. Well, why is she hiding? Ranni goes into detail about her relationship with the two fingers.
I stole the rune of death, slew mine own Empyrean flesh, casting it away. I would not be controlled by that thing. The two fingers and I have been cursing each other ever since, and the baleful shadows are their assassins.
She tasks us with taking out a nearby assassin so that she may continue undetected. Doing so will reward us with a key. This key unlocks the chest in Renala's room. Inside the chest is a beautiful ring depicting a leaden full moon. Symbolic of a cold oath, the ring is supposed to be given by Lunar Princess Ranni to her consort. Ranni is an Empyrean, meaning her consort would by rights earn the title of Lord. A warning is engraved within. Whoever thou mayest be, take not the ring from this place. The solitude beyond the night is better mine alone. Essentially, Ranni has written, hands off, I'd rather be by myself, which is rather in keeping with her character. We need this ring to unlock the next area, after the boss fight with Astel. This area is called Manus Cellus, which means heavenly hand. You might be able to see where this is going. This is the place where Ranni's two fingers inhabit. Upon entering, we are greeted by the sight of a bloodied and unclothed Ranni. You can see her porcelain skin is broken in places, revealing the twine material that makes up her doll body. She sits at the base of the two fingers. They tower over her, motionless and fatally wounded. A pair of Ranni's arms appear broken too. She's clearly taken a toll from the fight that ensued, and now is sitting, lifeless. Or perhaps she is simply stunned, processing the weight of her actions, frozen still. We, the Tarnished, kneel in front of her, lift her hand, and place the ring on her finger. Her ring finger. This is such a pure and surprisingly romantic moment for a From Software game. Ranni looks so frail and is at her most vulnerable here, a contrast from her usual demeanour. The action of placing the ring on Ranni's finger restores her previous appearance, despite the ring's description dictating that Ranni must be the one to give the ring to her chosen lord. She happily goes along with our proposal. Now that Ranni has defeated her last obstacle, we must defeat ours, in order for us to establish this new world order.
And once all is done, we shall see each other once more.
This is such a comforting statement from Ranni. Before, Ranni was dismissive and cold. Now she has opened up herself to the Tarnished, and seeing her development is heartwarming. Side note, if you are so chaotically inclined that you wish to attack Ranni at this moment after giving her the ring, she will say,
"This is precisely what I deserve for surrendering myself to delusion."
This confirms that Ranni has put all of her trust into us. Surrendering to delusion suggests that she has willingly become enamored with the Tarnished, and as a result her judgment has dulled, accepting this as a consequence. We are more than just her underling, we are her partner now. As we proceed to the endgame, we can actually talk to the miniature Ranni again. Ranni's spirit is still inhabiting the doll. This dialogue gives us an insight into what Ranni's ending will entail.
Mine will be an order not of gold, but the stars and moon of the chill night.
This is a reference to the Golden Order, the laws that govern the lands between, defined by the Greater Will and the Outer Gods.
I would keep them far from the earth beneath our feet.
Ranni wants her world to be under a more cosmic power, the moon that she has always been fascinated by. Ranni may be saying that she metaphorically wants to be detached from the Golden Order, far away from them. Or she may be saying that her order will quite literally inhabit the stars far up in the sky.
As it is now, life and souls and order are bound tightly together. But I would have them at a great remove.
This suggests that Ranni wants to completely undo everything that the Order has previously enforced, going to the very polar opposite. Spirituality, sensation, and emotion will no longer exist in her world. However, it has been brought to players' attention that some of the game's dialogue, specifically Ranni's lines, may have been mistranslated, or rather, the original meaning has been lost. First, the dialogue is translated from Japanese into English, and then it needs to be formatted into this old-fashioned dialect that's in keeping with the game's tone. A more accurate translation of these lines are, if it was not possible to clearly see, feel, believe in, or touch the Order, that would be better. Instead, Ranni may be saying that an order is best when it is not so clearly defined. Physical things like the Erd Tree and the Two Fingers are fearsome reminders to submit to the power that governs the world. Ranni wishes to transcend the physical realm and explore the flexibility that comes with her free spirit. After defeating the Elden Beast, we can summon Ranni and witness her ending. Ranni conjures this dark moon, which we explored before, even referencing how this journey, like the moon, will be cold, dark, and lonely. Yet she extends her hand towards us to go together into the unknown. If you spoke to miniature Ranni before entering the final fight, her last words will be different, more affectionate. Here is the difference.
Well then, shall we, my fair consort eternal? Let us go together, my dear consort eternal.
Ranni knows for certain that under her new order, all will be free from the Elden Ring, the Fingers, and the Golden Order.
I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul, now cometh the age of the stars,
and promises everyone that they will be master of their own fate and live freely under the stars. The Age of Stars is truly the best ending. So these were my thoughts on the Age of Stars and Ranni's character. There's so much more to explore in terms of Ranni's War Council, e.g. Blide. Please let me know if you'd like me to cover these great characters, as they do have so much to do with Ranni. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed Ranni telling you the lore. If you want to see more of my cosplay, you can check me out on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok as well. Thank you so much for everyone recommending that I should do this, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye. Bye bye.